In China, we have 4 levels of the authorities where they can issue the license. So we got the ministerial, provincial, prefectural, and country level. So each level, they got certain kind of authorities and limits of rights there as well. This is actually just to give you the broad view of who is going to issue the mineral permits. So for example, if you look at this one, I think the mineral permits are related to the deposit scales. So you got the scales, you got large, you got medium, you got small. And quite often, for the larger scale deposit, you need the permits will be issued by ministerial level, but you got medium or small one, it can be issued by the provincial, prefectural, or country level. Or country level, please. For example, you see the second from bottom, the sandstone and clay for construction. That one can be issued by the local county level. It doesn't need to go to the prefectural level, or doesn't need to go to provincial level either. So the sequence is that the deposit scale actually decides whether the permits will be issued by the ministerial, provincial, prefectural, or county level.
Is the approvals local or central government?
As I said, the approval is really, we got 4 levels of approval. It's really related to the deposit size, deposit scales. And they have 3 scales they called large, medium, and small for different commodities, and they need a different level of approval.
You can go to the website. This is the MOLA website. You can go and negotiate and buy an exploration license from the land and resource authorities. And second, you can buy the exploration license from the market as well. In China, we have a few mining right exchanges. For example, you got Tianjin mining right exchanges. You got Shanghai, you got Shenzhen, and you got Beijing one there as well. They got all sorts of registration there. You go through the website, or you go there and talk to them. You can buy the exploration license from them. Once you've bought the license, you have to register your coordinates with the relevant land and resource bureaus. You go to the exploration license, then there is certain minimum requirement you have to meet in order for you to keep the exploration license. For example, you have to spend a certain amount of money on exploration every year. The first year, you have to spend 2,000 RMB minimum per square kilometers. Second year, that fee is increased to 5,000. Then third year, it's increased to 10,000. The reason for that is that you have to do the relevant work. You cannot just hold that one for nothing. So the government will evaluate one by the end of the expiry. For example, the license normally will expire in 3 years. At the end of the 3 years, the license can be renewed, but each renewal period will be no more than 2 years. When you renew your exploration license, the government will look at your expenditures to see whether you have met the minimum requirement there.
What is the usual capital spend you've got to spend on each 2 years to retain your license? What are the rules that they set?
I mentioned that in the presentation there, is that for the exploration license, I mean, you have to spend a minimum 2,000 RMB per square kilometers the first year. Second year should be 5,000, and third year will be 10,000. This is for the first 3 years. And after that, every year, if you renew that one for another 2 years, every year you have to have a minimum of 10,000 RMB per square kilometers. I mean, that's the minimum requirement. It doesn't mean that you meet the minimum requirement, you'll get your license renewed automatically. You have to demonstrate that you are working towards turning the exploration into a real project. You are really working together with the exploration team, with the drilling team, with the design institute, to do the work, rather than holding the project, spending money for something else. I think the government will look at the details of your spending and to make a judgment whether you are doing the right thing at that stage.
So it's not like Australia or Canada, if you spend the money following the requirements, it's automatically renewed.
No, I think they're pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. But you have to spend money there. For example, you have to do the trench, you do the pit, or you do the drilling. Rather than you spend money, you spend money, and you said you spend money on that one, they have to look at the details, whether the money are properly spent in that particular items.
Right. Is the approvals local or central government?
As I said, the approval is really, we got 4 levels of approval. It's really related to the deposit size, deposit scales. And they have 3 scales they called large, medium, and small for different commodities, and they need a different level of approval.
Just before we take our next question over there, the amounts of money we're talking about here seem very small. 3,000 renminbi per square kilometer, you could just get the catering for the miners and you've already spent that much.
It's done long time ago, but they haven't amended this one yet. I think at that time, probably that's a level. I think from time to time, they have to amend this legislation, but they haven't done that one yet. It's small, to be honest. But if you are a real developer, you definitely will spend a lot more because you're keen to do that. If you are not, then you just keep that one, play the games, then most likely you probably will lose the license.
What's the secret sauce to establishing a mine in China? What's the secret to success there that you might not need in Australia or Canada, the other country where you spent a lot of time?
The sequence, as I said earlier, is that you have to, first you have to be involved to get the exploration license. And I showed you there already. I think the success of that one is that you have to engage local people. You have to have a local involvement. You have the Chinese presence. So you should have international experience with a local presence there as well in order for you to run to get the exploration license. Once you get the exploration license, then you have to go through the environmental, mine design, all these things to convert the exploration license to the mining license. In order for you to do the conversion, you have to have a successful team there, local team, let me put it this way, to liaison with the all sorts of government bodies there. To balance all parties in order to run the project successfully. So once everything is done, so then you probably need, the whole process probably takes around 8 years.